A stunning beauty tries to peek at the young man's cards, but the young man's drunk father deliberately shows them. The beauty takes a closer look, just a pair of deuces. She subtly signals her accomplice. Unexpectedly, when the young man reveals his hand, the deuces turn into a straight. The experienced cheats instantly lose their shirts. It turns out the young man's drunk father is the real deal. The man is actually a legendary gambler who has transmigrated. In his previous life, he was famous overseas for his superb gambling skills, and amassed countless riches. But with success came many enemies. One day, he returned home to find his wife murdered by his enemies, and his children also brutally killed. The god of gamblers lost everything overnight, and was ultimately shot dead by his enemies. But then he suddenly opened his eyes, and realized he wasn't dead. Instead, he had transmigrated into the body of a drunken bum. The drunk's daughter saw him staggering around, thinking he must have drunk fake liquor again, and told him to sober up, because her brother had lost tens of thousands at the casino, and if they didn't get the money to bail him out, his hands and feet would be chopped off. He looked at the girl, and immediately thought of his deceased family. He decided that in this life, he must never repeat his mistakes because of gambling. But when they arrived at the casino, they found their son had already lost a lot, and wanted to use the money to redeem him to try and win it back. The man heard from others that his son wasn't a habitual gambler, but lost the money trying to raise tuition for his sister. Seeing that his son still had a conscience, he decided to help him find his way back. Just then, the man immediately saw that the expert at the table was using sleight of hand, hiding a card, and dealing his son a pair of kings. But the young man thought he had a great hand, and not only bet his remaining 10,000, but also borrowed 50,000 in high-interest loans to reveal his hand. I have a flush. He was confident, wondering how he could be beaten. However, his opponent couldn't stop smiling, because he had dealt himself a 9, 10, jack straight flush. The young man's face turned ashen, like a wilted eggplant. Now, counting this hand, he owes 100,000. With midnight approaching and no way to pay, casino rules dictate he must pay with his fingers. The young man then asked his old classmate for money, unaware his classmate was working with the opponent, so he wouldn't lend him anymore. Just then, the man staggered to his feet. Something strange about the cards on this table. He pointed out that the 4 players used 12 cards, but there weren't 40 cards in the deck, but only 39. The young man thought his drunk father was hallucinating, not even bothering to count. Wondering how he knew there was one missing, the man told him to check the cards to find out. The young man decided to try anything, so he carefully counted the remaining cards. Sure enough, just as his father said, there were only 39. The expert feared the young man would search him and find the money, and immediately dropped the hidden card on the ground. Then he winked at his accomplice. Did a card fall out during the shuffle? Check under the table. The other players quickly found the card, and according to the rules, the hand couldn't count, so they had to reshuffle and start the next hand. The expert, seeing the drunk had accidentally ruined his plan, scared, he dared not hide or switch cards again, relying only on luck. Luckily, he was in luck, and got a pair of jacks. The young man was even luckier and got a straight, while the other two just had small pairs. I'll punch you a couple more times.